All right, guys. So before we officially get started, I have a serious question, and it's time for some truth telling. We just had a small conversation, but have you guys listened to any of our podcast episodes?
I
I've
haven't.
started. Oh, no, it's
I'm
like
very weird about hearing myself, though. Like, it's just, even with, like, acting and stuff, when I did theater, like, I was always weird about watching it. Even with dance, I just, like, nitpick things, and I'm like, dang, that sounds so stupid. Why did I say that?
I know, I do the same thing. I do. I'm pretty sure that Braden does not listen to our podcasts either. I know that in the beginning, I was sending you guys the copies before I would air them after I edited them. And I was like, is it okay? What do you think? And it was the second one I'd sent. He's like, I've not listened to any of them you sent me. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. So I'm guessing he doesn't listen to the podcast either.
See, I am listening to it on Spotify. So
you just started?
Well, I started thinking about it. I was like, God, I've never even heard like what we sound like. And then I started listening to the TGIF ones, and I'm like, I think we sound pretty damn good.
It has its benefits.
And I'm not gonna lie, I even chuckled at a few jokes, so it's got rewatchability.
Here's my truth telling time. So I spend about 6 hours every week listening to the podcast while editing it. That's one episode. And I do it to the point that all of our voices are like nails on a chalkboard to me. So no, once I hit publish, it gets no more TLC from me.
No, and I completely get that. Yeah.
Relatable.
Okay, guys. Welcome to another spellbinding episode of the 90s Rewind Report. Fellow nostalgians, I am Michael Reagan, and today we are revisiting the enchanting world of Halloweentown. I have co-host Nate with me, and we have my sister Bailey back, who is co-hosting today. She's not been with us since the pilot episode. If you're listening on Spotify, her episode for some reason does not carry over there, but it is on Apple Podcasts and iHeart, so you can listen to it there. And today, we are going to dust off our broomsticks and get ready for a magical ride through one of Disney Channel's beloved Halloween classics. So before we start our Halloweentown rewatch, I wanted to share a clip with everyone that Nate sent me of his daughter Penny reviewing the movie. So I'm going to share that clip with you guys real quick.
Okay, take one.
Hi, I'm Penny. And when I was 5 or 6, I watched Halloweentown because my cousin Bailey thought I would like it, and she was right. And it made me think about how not everyone is mean because they look mean, and that is what's on the inside. And my favorite part of the movie is when they defeated Calabar, because I thought it was cool how they went together and casted a spell that defeated him. And I really liked the sequels, too, and I thought that Calabar's Revenge is the best one because I thought it was cool how the Halloween costumes became real living things.
And
okay, Bailey. She mentioned you by name. How do you feel about Penny's review?
I think it was beautiful. I love the message that she took away. That was very mature.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, and she watched the tar out of that. And what I find really ironic though is as many times as she watched it and she forced her mom to watch it with her, I don't think I watched that movie for 20 years up until this last week.
When Nate sent me that, I knew we had to share it because Penny's answer,
precious.
It was insightful and it was heartwarming. And honestly, we could stop right here and right now because we're not going to top that. But
when I told her that we were doing a Halloweentown episode, she's like, "That's my jam. That's not."
That was so profound and beautiful.
Always it really was. It was really deep. That was a very thoughtful response.
Very thoughtful.
But we did promise Halloweentown rewatch episode, so grab your pumpkin spice latte and let's shuffle through the cobwebs of nostalgia as we revisit the enchanting world of Halloweentown. We'll start with a summary of Halloweentown in case there's a couple of people out there who have not got to enjoy this film yet. So Halloweentown was a Disney Channel original movie that was released on October 17th, 1998. The film mixes coming-of-age themes with fantasy and horror elements. The film revolves around Marnie Piper, a young girl who discovers her magical heritage as she journeys to a mystical town inhabited by supernatural beings. The film starred Kimberly J. Brown as Marnie, Joey Zimmerman as Dylan, Emily Roski as Sophie, Judith Hogue as their mother Gwen, who also played April O'Neil in the original 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
That's cool.
Yep.
Wow.
And then Debbie Reynolds as the grandmother, Aggie, one of Mama Mary's favorite actresses. And fun fact, Debbie Reynolds is Carrie Fisher, aka Princess Leia's mother.
See, just wild stuff.
Yeah. The film opens with Marnie Piper's family establishing their lack of Halloween traditions. Marnie feels out of place in her non-magical environment, highlighting her longing for something more significant. The scene sets up Marnie as curious, independent, and adventurous, hinting at her eventual journey to Halloweentown. Marnie's frustration with her mother's strictness regarding Halloween tradition showcases the conflict between desires versus what her mother wants for her. This conflict helps to develop Marnie's character as a rebellious teenager eager to explore her own identity. So, as we start our magical journey, what stands out to you guys in that first scene?
In the first scene?
The one where she is trying to convince her mother to let her go trick-or-treating with her friends. And her mom says, there are things about Halloween you don't understand. And she sort of kicks Marnie's friends out.
I think I remember as a kid kind of interpreting it as her mom didn't trust her. And I think that's how Marnie felt without knowing all the facts. Like, it kind of just came across like her mom doesn't think she can be out on her own kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Versus there's an actual serious reason she can't go.
What about you, Nathan?
No, I just remember thinking like maybe they were Jehovah's Witnesses or something because
well, I mean, we don't know at that point.
Right, but I was like, I think 15 or 16 when this came out. So I remember thinking that would really completely suck to have a mom so down on Halloween because if you guys remember my bedroom as about that age,
Yeah.
it was like a horror movie museum. Like every day was Halloween for me.
It was.
And so it seems such a bummer to have parents like, no, absolutely not. Spookalicious. I'm sorry. Can't have you go out and panhandling for treats and gallivanting about in garb. But yeah, I just remember thinking, what a crock for this poor family.
Yeah, personally,
it was such a bummer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of felt the way that you felt about it, Bailey, which is she felt like her mom didn't trust her, and that's why she was acting out the way that she was. First, I felt like her attitude was kind of bratty. But on the flip side, it's the mortal world. It's not Halloweentown. Her children know nothing about Halloweentown. So why wouldn't Gwen just let the kids walk around the block and get some candy and they would shut up?
Right. Like, it's still there. They're still going to celebrate Halloween around them. So why not just enjoy that and have a little blast from the past?
I mean, we don't.
was in Halloweentown.
I don't have kids. Bailey doesn't have kids. Nate does. So we can ask him. I'm pretty sure when you really strictly enforce something and tell your kids not to do it, that makes them want to do it more, doesn't it?
Oh, it's the perfect reverse psychology. I mean, you're essentially saying, hey, here's this fantastic apple. You're not allowed to touch it, so I'm going to put it up here on the shelf. Oh, yes, you can see it, but you're not allowed to touch it. And so, of course, that's the first thing they're going to do is like, where's the stepladder at?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. She should have gave him a little bit of freedom. Let him. If she wouldn't have made trick-or-treating a big deal, it would. Well, we wouldn't have had our movie, so I should just keep my mouth shut.
It's like, thank goodness for rebelliousness.
Yeah.
So next we see the arrival of Gwen's mother, who Gwen is shocked to see, which is Aggie Cromwell, on her once-a-year visit to her family as the bus to and from Halloweentown only travels to the mortal world on Halloween night. Aggie introduces the concept of Halloweentown and magical elements that contrast with the everyday life of Marnie and her siblings. Aggie's presence adds a sprinkle of whimsy and excitement, igniting curiosity in Marnie and foreshadowing her destiny. Grandmother Cromwell brings the children candy, costumes, and other Halloween-themed items, much to her daughter Gwen's dismay. After dinner, the children ask their grandmother for a bedtime story before she returns home. Their mother makes her promise not to tell them anything about home, which is Halloweentown, and she promises only to find a loophole by reading the children a book she conjured up about Halloweentown. Marnie overhears her grandmother talking about Marnie being a witch and that she will lose her powers if they are not practiced soon, and asks her daughter to return home with her to fight the evil that has taken hold of Halloweentown. Gwen refuses, and her mother leaves to get on the bus and return home alone. Marnie wakes her brother Dylan, tells him what she heard. He thinks she is crazy, but they follow their grandmother onto the bus anyway. I have a question, though, real quick, and I don't want to pick the movie apart, but why is Gwen shocked to see her mother when it's implied that her mother visits every year on Halloween, since that's the only day of the year that the bus drives to the mortal world?
I was wondering that also. And I was also wondering why it was so late whenever the grandmother got there, because she could have probably left earlier.
I would think. I don't know what the bus schedule is in Halloweentown.
That's true.
Because time moves differently there, too, remember?
Yeah,
You gotta have like
Yeah.
3 different watches. It's
that's true. It could be anything.
So they do follow their grandmother onto the bus. Once on the bus, Marnie and Dylan leave behind the world of the mundane, and this scene serves as a visual representation of Marnie's inner transformation and sets the tone for the enchanting adventures that follow. Characters we see on the bus are witches, goblins, gremlins, and a Frankenstein-style character. I don't know how
Frankenstein
Nathan...
style character cracks me up. I'm not good.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, did you hear? Like, do you listen to what they're saying?
Oh yeah.
It's hilarious.
I think it went over my head when I was younger, but I'm sitting there watching it the other night,
definitely.
like, oh my gosh, this is
Yeah,
this
it
is
was like one of
ridiculous.
them said, "I raise a demon from the underworld," and they say,
Oh,
"Big
yeah.
deal! I saw the same thing on
Jerry Springer.
It's crazy.
I was like, "Oh my gosh,
I
that's
had
very funny."
I had forgotten about that line until you just said that.
Well, I never noticed it because I
I-
watched it I just still remember it through that kid lens. So watching it like as an adult, I was like, "That's funny."
Hold on, it's one of those things where they're the safe monsters, like the PG horror thing that was going on.
Yes.
And it was great because it was, it wasn't really corny. Because on a certain
Exactly.
level,
It could have
there's things,
been.
it could have been like the kids would feel, okay, that's a monster, but I'm kind of safe. But at the
Mhm.
same time, the parents are just like, oh no, that monster's kind of dirty around the edges, watching Springer and such.
Oh my god, that was good.
After the bus stops, the Piper children find themselves in Halloweentown. Their initial awe and wonderment as they explore the town illustrates Marnie's excitement and her magical heritage. The bustling marketplace filled with witches, goblins, and other fantasy beings establishes a stark contrast to her previous life and symbolizes freedom and acceptance. I remember this scene is where I became invested in the movie as a child and as an adult. I'm not going to lie. So as children, visualization is everything.
Oh
And
yeah.
this had all of that because it had vibrant colors and it had
It
the
was
unique
Halloween.
structures. Yes, and it had
It
a
was like
variety of Halloweentown residents. So all kind of creatures you never thought of seeing
Mhm.
before.
Oh, no,
And
they
Go
were
ahead,
just
Bailey.
no, go
that
ahead.
was whenever Sophie quickly notices that the pumpkin does not look like it looks in the book. And it kind of sets the tone for something's gone
Sinister.
sinister, a little dark here.
Yeah. Yeah. Because his little poor little pumpkin's all he's doesn't have any light and he's cracked
Yeah,
up.
he's kind
Yeah.
of cracked
He's the
up.
saddest pumpkin.
Yeah,
Sad
not
pumpkin.
the bright orange we're looking for.
Like a macabre HR puffin stuff, just kind of scenario going on. You're like, wait,
Yes,
what's going on here?
precisely.
Welcome to Halloweentown. There's lots of stuff around.
In the marketplace scene, Marnie's interactions with the various residents of Halloweentown deepen her understanding of the magical world and its peculiarities. It helps build the town's character, showcasing both its charm and the underlying issues of magical beings living hidden from the human world. Here, the children meet Calabar, the mayor of Halloweentown, who seems friendly enough, even offering Sophie a lollipop, which she politely declines, probably because he pulled it from his ear.
I was about to say. There's good
Yeah,
reason for
I
me.
think I would have said no thank you as well.
And go, Sophie. Self-control.
Like, I'm going to pass on that Calabar. Thank you. Thank you.
That sucker did look really appealing if it hadn't come out of an ear. Yeah, she had some restraint for a kid.
The whole thing. Yeah.
Now, if you'd pulled it out of Sophie's ear, she might have been like, oh, well, that's me.
I mean, okay, so they find out Calabar knows their family, including their mother, Gwen. He tells them where they can find their grandmother, stating she has lived in the same house for 200 years.
Almost 200 years?
Yeah, I thought what you thought at first, but then I remembered that time does move differently in Halloweentown. So even though Gwen is like in her 40s, I would say, and she's got kids, the oldest being 13, which is normal in the mortal world, in Halloweentown, maybe she would age differently.
That's true. I was actually wondering that also, and that makes sense to me.
I mean, I might be digging too deep. It's a rabbit hole we could go down for an hour alone.
I mean, share the secret, girl.
It's like, I'll just share anything with you, except for my beauty secrets.
Okay. Here's where we meet Benny, the skeleton cab driver, who warns the children about Luke, which is a goblin who claims that a shadow creature made him handsome.
He looks like a greaser.
He does look like a 50s greaser, doesn't he?
That's the style he gives off, you know?
So they do arrive at their grandmother's house, and they find the gate is locked. So Marnie attempts to open the gate with a spell after being teased by her younger brother Dylan. After she fails, she and her brother begin to argue, and the gate opens. The youngest sister Sophie had to unlock the gate by wishing the lock would turn into a frog, which it did. That was an adorable scene, by the way.
No, Sophie's boss. It's true.
She was adorable.
Yeah, this came out when I was 3, and we watched it that year it came out. And I watched it every year. And I just remember even being like younger than her, I was like, she's so cute. She's just so precious.
She's a door.
She's a cutie pie.
And like all the stuff that's happening to her, you're like, I think Sophie is going to be the one to defeat whoever it is.
Yeah,
she's floating cookies. She's unlocking gates. I don't know. There's something about the youngest kid.
She's a smart one. Very observant.
She really is. She's the one who, we'll get to it later, but Sophie saves the day several times in this.
Sophie.
She was the Maggie Simpson of her day. Nobody knew it.
I love that.
That's good.
Good comparison.
So, once inside their grandmother's house, the children have their first encounter with actual magic as they learn about their family's legacy, and it is a turning point in Marnie's personal development. This moment is essential for her as it solidifies her desire to embrace her identity as a witch. Their grandmother informs them about the bad thing taking over the residents of Halloweentown and turning them evil before they completely disappear. She tells them she is making a potion for Merlin's talisman and says a spell. The talisman flickers before turning off like a light bulb. That's what I get for using instant, Cromwell says, and looks at her spell book for the recipe to make the potion from scratch. The ingredients required are hair of werewolf, fang of vampire, and sweat of ghost. Do you guys remember the spell?
Oh my god. What is it? Bekima.
Bakey Graffier. Bakey Gagain. Cletus Aletham.
North.
Anoith Bid.
What you guys say?
I just made up some words that sounded like other words, I think.
You got most
can
of
of corn. Okay.
Exactly. I was just making up stuff. I don't know what I just said. No. Baking mom, baking a pear.
So the children then visit the town with Grandma Aggie to get the ingredients. Marnie also test drives her first broom with her grandmother. What about that skeleton salesman? He was awesome.
Love
Where
it.
their mom finds them upon landing and demands her children return home to the mortal world with them.
Buzzkill, because that broom scene was my favorite. I was like so excited for Marnie. I would have picked a different broom because they had some other ones, but
Same. What about you, Nate? Do you think that Marnie picked the right broom, or do you think there were some cooler ones there?
There were always cooler brooms, but at the same time, she got the broom that she needed at that time.
She felt connected to that broom, I guess, and
That's true. It was very 90s, and so I
it's
guess it was
her broom, not
neon,
mine.
and that's true. I liked the
It
one
reminded me
that
of many Huffy bikes at the time, you know.
I liked the one that he tried to sell her, and I think it was like the black and metallic blue.
Yes, yeah, it was that blue one. It had like some purple in it, I think. It was
You can
very
tell we're from the same family, yeah.
I was like, oh, I like that one, and there was like some pink ones. I was like, but okay, the yellow and orange one.
The yellow and orange. Go, buddy. Okay.
Okay.
It's all about being ostentatious and loud in the 90s. Yeah. You gotta stand out.
Well,
That
speaking
is
of being
true.
loud in the 90s, this is where Marnie begins to have a confrontation with her mother, championing her cause to her mother of saving Halloweentown, and her leadership qualities begin to emerge. This scene emphasizes themes of bravery and responsibility, illustrating her evolution from curious teen to heroine.
But I don't know if you guys noticed, but during the scene that she's arguing with her mom, she threatens to go join a motorcycle gang.
I did not catch that part even this go
I was
around.
like, okay, girl, she's getting dark.
It's like, I want to rebel hard, Mom. How you like that?
Yeah, she's like, I'm not going to school, and I'm gonna run away, and I'm gonna join a motorcycle gang.
So this
If
went
I
from
can't live in Halloweentown,
with one greaser, then I'm going to go live in the Outsiders.
right?
I'm gonna shave my head and join a cult, and they're gonna love them more than I love you, Mom.
And they'll accept me for who I am.
I'm gonna marry a guy named Babu.
Let's hope Kimberly J. Brown never listens to this podcast.
Love her.
Love her. Amazing journey for her.
Yes, she did not join a motorcycle gang.
It's like good life choices.
Well, it doesn't matter anyway, because if they try to leave, they are told the bus to the mortal world is currently under maintenance, and they don't know when it will be operating again. Dylan mentions to his mother that they met the mayor, and he seemed nice, and maybe he could help. What did you guys think about the two-headed bus attendant guy, the ticket guy?
They suck at their job.
They really do.
But
they don't have any customer service skills whatsoever.
Not at all.
No.
And they need to label their cups, because that seems to be a lot of the argument.
Good
Maybe
organization
a his
is
and
important.
his, you know, initials, something.
It's like it's one of those fantastically goofy moments. Like, well done.
Oh, it is very silly though.
It is hilarious. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
After this, they do visit the mayor's office, and we discover that their mother, Gwen, had actually dated Calabar in high school. Little scandal in Halloweentown.
No, that's what cracks me up is how flustered Mom gets. It's like, Calabar? Well, hi.
It's like, oh,
the mayor? When did this happen?
with his
It's like
magic.
It's like, and that's when you kind of like get this idea like Mom is bad at making choices. You know, she's crushing on the mayor. She's like dissing grandma. And it's like, Mom, you got to think a little harder.
Well, and as Marnie, I would have been so pissed. I would have been so mad. I would have been like, hello. Why? So obviously you can stay in Halloweentown and make your life choices.
I'd be like, so let me get this straight, Mom. So because this warlock here said you weren't good enough, you just left Halloweentown entirely and dated a boring mortal. Okay.
Okay.
Marrying muggles, Mom. What's wrong with you?
Muggles, Mom.
So uncool.
Not a pure blood. Oh.
No. What a scandal this will make.
Hopefully Hermione Granger's not out there listening either. Okay, Emma Watson. Hopefully she's not listening either. Okay. So the mayor says that he cannot help anyway, so Gwen stops flirting with him finally. But he does offer them anything they need while in town. And in the next scene, we see Luke telling Aggie that the shadow creature wants to talk to her, and he takes her to an abandoned movie theater. What a waste. That looked like a nice theater.
Mhm.
And it's full
Did
of the
you
missing.
notice it was marked off with spider webs?
Good call. I did not have that in my
Yeah,
notes, but yeah,
I
it was.
noticed that. I was like, because she said, "Oh, it's closed," and there were spider webs closing it off. Very Halloween.
Very, very observant. I did not. I mean, I noticed that, but I did not put it in my notes. That was very,
Well, I
very.
am the younger sister, so.
Okay, so she finds the missing townspeople in the theater. They're in a trance-like state. The shadow creature demands Aggie give him Merlin's talisman. She refuses as her daughter and children show up. The creature attempts to bewitch Aggie, but Gwen pushes her mother out of the way, and she is instead put into the trance-like state with the others. Then he does the same thing to Aggie. The youngest Cromwells escape with the talisman. The shadow creature actually scared me, and when I was younger, and I was 13 when I watched this, and that it was creepy.
It
He was
was.
creepy looking.
It was like on par with like Disney's best, like Mr. Boogedy makeup. Like,
Mr. Boogedy scared me too, and I was
Yeah,
younger
that
when I
was
watched Mr.
scary.
Boogedy.
no, and that's the shadow creature. I think was just as good as that makeup. But this scene has like the best line in the whole movie for me. Just to see where like the kids are like at the doorway, and Debbie Reynolds looks at us like, "Go! It's just an evil spell that freezes us." And it's like,
You guys.
that's horrifying for a grandmother to tell their children.
I think that Nathan was right. We were talking earlier. I think we need a Mr. Boogedy episode because, let me say something real quick. Speaking of Mr. Boogedy, I had not watched that since I was little. And I didn't think it was because I was traumatized, but I think I was because I rewatched it last year on Halloween on Disney Plus. And for some reason, I thought it had a happy ending at the end where Mr. Boogedy turned nice. And that doesn't happen.
Oh,
So
no.
I rewrote it in my
Mhm.
mind. I rewrote that movie in my mind. He was okay. It's cool. He turns nice in the end, but no. Does that happen in the sequel? Because I was too terrified to watch the sequel, even
Oh,
at
no.
37 years old.
No,
I never
the sequel
watched it.
carries on with the same themes. Town called
Okay.
Lucifer Falls. Guy
Okay.
sells his soul to the devil for a magic cloak to give him evil
Uh-huh.
powers. It's probably the darkest Disney anything, like at the latter end of the 1980s. Yeah, it's like Disney had balls once.
They did. Well, okay. Did you guys ever watch Don't Look Under the Bed? That might have, okay, because that one was scary, but I loved it and I was kind of obsessed with it. But the nails on the imaginary friend, somebody get this guy a nail file. That is not
Oh, for
okay.
real?
It
Wow,
was
a lot
not
of
okay.
those.
Now every kid scary movie has to be like also a musical or something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You gotta have the musical moments.
You do.
The sound of music moments.
To remind us it's not real.
The kids leave the theater to get the ingredients for the spell. They
Mhm.
get the hair of werewolf from a werewolf who was a salon owner, the fang of vampire from a dentist office, and the sweat of a ghost from a steam machine, I suppose that was, at a gym. And the way that they get that, Bailey
That was
again,
so fun.
Sophie saved them because she was the one distracting the ghost. Dylan tried and he was failing. So she put on that little towel over her head and she started going,
She appropriated.
"Ooh." Yeah, she did.
But it worked. It was
It's like, hey kid, that's
effective.
offensive. Yes.
But it worked.
It worked.
It was
And
effective.
actually, the attempting of getting the ingredients, it probably forced just one of those great little visual gags, like how they just shape, like the werewolf has a barber shop.
Yeah.
They get the fang from a vampire dentist office.
Dentist, yes.
And here in a little bit, they have the moment with Benny the skeleton and the dog, and it's like, dogs and bones.
Oh my gosh,
Just
that
lots
was
of good
silly.
sight gag humor, and just like,
Mhm.
isn't this ridiculous?
The
It's
vampire that
goofy.
as she was getting her tooth pulled says, "Please, doctor, I don't have a high tolerance for pain."
Yeah.
This was a
Quality-
really good
quality
movie.
stuff.
This, if
Oh, it
there's someone
was.
listening to this who's never watched the movie, I don't know why you'd be listening to this, but
Because
yeah,
it's
it's hilarious.
It's just
And
fun
heartwarming.
Halloween. It's not like necessarily scary, but it captures the vibes of Halloween perfectly
It
Yeah.
does.
and a fun way.
And in a
In
way,
the
it's like so childish that even the church couldn't get ticked off at it, you know?
Exactly.
Oh,
I
no,
don't
I'm
know,
sure
they-
there's still some Southern Baptists that probably
You know
shaking me a
someone.
finger.
It's got that pentagram in the beginning of it, you know.
Yeah, but they made the Lon Chaney reference, which just tickled the hell out of me.
Like the
Chaney
one
movies
Lon
and
Chaney, yeah.
friends.
Marnie was pretty cool.
Mm,
Didn't she say that the runes looked like the ones from the Egyptian Book of the Dead?
Yes.
Yeah.
so
So
that's why I
Marnie,
wish there was a Marnie on my block, you know?
I know. Where
Marnie,
was Marnie in Lenore City back then?
we would have had a Marnie hang out in our 90s Kid Club. Absolutely. You guys have to meet Lily. I told you about her. She's probably the closest you're going to get to a Marnie. She's not a witch, but
But as close as you
Hey, you
can.
can't be perfect, you know?
Okay. So after they get the ingredients, the kids go back to Grandma Aggie's house and they mix them together. Sophie remembers the spell because she had made it into a song, the one that Bailey and I somewhat performed earlier.
It would not work. It would
No,
not be successful.
no, we would have totally let Halloweentown go to heck. Okay.
Well, sorry, guys.
They realize they have to get the talisman to the giant jack-o'-lantern in the town square and place it inside of it. So once there, Marnie has a climactic showdown with the shadow creature who turns out to be Mayor Calabar. Who didn't see that coming?
Really?
Mm-hmm. I was
You
not
see-
completely 100% shocked the first time I watched it when it was Calabar.
I
See,
was
I didn't watch it
blown
like when it,
away.
now when it first came out, I didn't watch it. I watched it the next year, like when the second one came out and they were doing like a back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
And it
So
was
when I
called
saw like this,
Calabar's Revenge.
when I saw Calabar's Revenge behind Halloween or Halloweentown 2, and I was like, you know,
You just
I'm
gave
not a
away the
betting
villain.
man, but I think for sure money is going to be the Calabar as the villain. And lo and behold, as soon as he get like, whoa, it was
What do
me
you
the whole
know?
time.
I trusted that man.
It's like,
Oh, that would be
Calabar, you
devastating.
bastard.
That would be
But
You
I
took
was
all of our
screaming.
hopes and dreams and dashed them.
He
I
did
watched
seem
it very
very
young, so
he did
I was
seem
very
very
trusting.
friendly. Like I said, the first scene that we see him in, I thought he was very friendly and I liked him. But
I
that
just thought he was a
scene,
goofy guy.
yeah, but that scene when he was really adamant with her about backing down and leaving it alone, I was like,
You can see in
there's a
Aggie's
reason.
face.
Yes,
She's
it was more her
irritated.
facial expressions that was giving away that she distrusted him.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
Oh,
That
If
was
that,
I
it.
read the facial expressions, I'd probably, yeah.
when he started like giving the reasoning though for like why he was doing it all, and how it's because the mom broke his heart and like, oh, you wouldn't date me, you went out with
Oh,
another guy.
we're gonna
Yeah.
get to that sad sob story. Okay.
That's
Get
what I'm
over it.
Bless his heart. We'll get to that.
So we'll come back to that discussion.
Luke helps Marnie to distract Calabar, but to no avail. As Marnie reaches the jack-o'-lantern, Calabar bewitches her and then tells the townspeople his plan to return to the mortal world and they would rule both worlds. Marnie, mustering up the last of her strength, drops the talisman into the jack-o'-lantern, remembering to believe in herself as her grandmother had told her to. The talisman lands perfectly into its holder and the jack-o'-lantern explodes with a burst of light that offends Calabar and breaks his trance over the residents of Halloweentown.
It all comes back to what Penny said. You have to believe in yourself and you have to be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you have that,
And she
anything's
also,
possible.
and she also said, if somebody
Very
looks mean and
insightful.
scary, they may not be.
Mhm.
And in all cases, don't trust the mayor.
Exactly. Don't
It'll
trust
bite
the
you
mayor.
95% of the time.
At least the mayor of Halloweentown. Yeah, we do not
Yeah.
want to trust the mayor of Halloweentown.
So,
So,
always be wary of who's in office.
Candy.
don't trust politicians. Let's just start a conspiracy podcast.
There we go. We'll join the other freaking.
This whole thing could have been avoided.
They're putting chemicals in the water to make you forget the 90s.
It's like our votes are being faked by cats and dogs.
I'm leaving this in. I don't care. Okay, here we go. We think at that point it's all wonderful because Marnie's mom and grandmother rejoin him in the town square. But then Calabar uses, I'm guessing, is that telekinesis when he pulls the
Telekinesis.
talisman back from the jack-o'-lantern? Yeah.
Yep, that's total TK.
That's the power I would want to have. I'm telling you. If you could have a witchy superpower, what would it be?
To talk to animals.
That's a good one.
I just want to fly. Like since I was a kid, it's like I just want to just fly over everything, screw traffic.
Yes.
Never have to take the
Flight of
highway
Heights.
again.
That is a good one. I mean, honestly, like, how easy would it be? You're at a red light. Just get your broomstick and get
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, but Bailey, you could just like, go talk to a bear and jump on his back and he could have you
That
halfway across the field in 2 seconds.
that's true. I
Or a cheetah.
mean, or like, I'm sure there's a bird out there that's strong enough if they really tried.
Oh, we're so off
Holy.
track.
Luke helps Marnie.
Actually, no, she's already dropped the jackal.
Oh,
She's
wait, that's
dropped
right.
the
Breaking the
talisman
trance
back
on
in. Yeah.
all the residents and
And
all
he
that.
has used his
Gwen and Aggie.
he's used his TK.
He used his
Pull that.
TK.
Yeah, he
That
used his
TK.
TK. That's so cool. Nate taught me that
I
today.
love that. That's pretty. Wish I
Tell him
had
just
that
gotta play enough
TK
mutants
right
to
now.
mastermind. That's all.
Yeah, he uses his TK to pull the talisman out. And then this is Miss Penny's favorite part because this is when the Cromwell line, including their brother, who is a warlock now, because we see his static electricity, I guess, flickering on his fingers.
It's the only time in the whole movie where the brother's actually useful.
So he grabs onto their hand. They all start humming. Poor Calabar, he disintegrates, explodes. I don't know.
Kaboomskis.
He kaboomskis. And I forgot to talk about his reasoning, which Nate mentioned earlier. But yes, this was all because he had a broken heart.
Yeah.
Cry me a river.
That's what therapy's for.
What kind of cracks me up is like mom's best magic trick was derailing a warlock's life by dating a muggle and having his kids. And just Calabar turns into a punk ass Voldemort, you know?
You know what? They should have done a spin-off on that whole relationship.
Don't give Disney ideas, Bailey. They won't give you credit for it.
That is true. And it won't be good now.
It'll be horrible, and then
it would not be good.
Well, never mind. You wouldn't.
So
want
I wouldn't want
it.
the credits, to be quite honest.
I take that back.
See, they're listening right now, and it's like, we got to get on this Project Stat. Halloweentown prequels.
Well, once they destroy Calabar, they restore peace to Halloweentown, and Gwen asks her mother to come live with her. And then when we end the film, we see Halloween decorations in the Piper household, leaving hints at further adventures with the Cromwell clan. It ends the film by leaving us with a sense of wonder and possibility that allows us to believe we will get to return to Halloweentown in the future. Over the years, Halloweentown has gained a cult following, with many fans celebrating its nostalgia through various media, including social media platforms, annual viewing parties, merchandise, and fan events. This has kept the film alive in popular culture, reinforcing the importance of nostalgia in the entertainment industry. Overall, Halloweentown masterfully blends the themes of family, identity, and the struggles to fit in. Each scene contributes to Marnie's journey of self-discovery and ultimately delivers a message about embracing one's true self, celebrating creativity and diversity. The film finds itself resonating with audiences across generations. The statistics of the demographic, rather, of the people who watch this are people our age and people as young as like 6 and 7 years old. So I'm pretty sure that has a lot to do with like those of us who are so nostalgic, knowing this is an appropriate movie and showing it to our kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it's passing it on, and they're loving it as much as we loved it.
It's
and you
so
can tell,
fun.
like that generation that grew up loving it is now making sequel movies. They're just like carrying on that storyline and everything. And now I'm starting to wonder, when's Marnie going to get her movie where she's telling her kids, stay away from magic. No Halloween in this house. Now I'm the oppressive mother.
You didn't learn from Bailey's mistake. Don't give Disney ideas. You know they'll take it and they'll make it really bad. They'll make it so bad.
Sorry. It's like decades and decades of spitballing ideas that I think will never happen, but then the CIA selling them to Hollywood, and it's like, damn it.
Hey, did you guys read that Halloweentown was actually supposed to be like really dark and it was supposed to be an NBC movie.
Oh no.
Oh, really?
Yes, and it was supposed to be released in 94 instead. It would have been so different.
Well, I know there's a lot of movies out there that were supposed to initially be very dark, but ended up taking a lighter tone so they could grab the PG-13 category as well.
That's
Which,
true.
And
I
it's
mean,
like, I think they made the right move.
oh, they
That's
did. I
true.
mean, it's a childhood classic. When I was watching the movie just a couple of nights ago, the music started, and it had like that Danny Elfman taste, but it wasn't quite there. And I was like, that is so weird that they just kind of shot for that, or at least so it sounded. So I looked up who did the music, and it was Mark Allen Mothersbaugh, or Bow. It was one of the co-founders of Devo. So like Whip
Oh
It,
my
and
god!
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's like he did
What?
the music for Halloweentown, but he also did the music for Rugrats, billions of other kid shows, like 90s kid shows. But that classic, like, boop, 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 which is hilarious because I remember playing that for my daughter when she was an infant, and it would wake her out of a sound sleep, just like, what?
Aw.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Aww. It
He
kind
also
of
did
has.
like the first 4 Wes Anderson movies. Like he
Oh
did the
my
soundtrack for
gosh.
those. So this guy was like kind of prolific, and once I heard all that, I was like, "Well, I'm starting to think maybe Danny Elfman was robbing his mojo."
Possibly. It's
Yep.
like the intro with the like it's so like it really sets the tone. I love that part. Like I love the music for that movie. I had no idea.
So that's a wrap on this episode of the 90s Rewind Report. We hope you have had as much fun reminiscing about the best decade ever as we did. Now we want to hear from you. If you're passionate about your favorite 90s topics and want a chance to be a guest on the show, drop us an email at the 90s Rewind Report at gmail.com. We can't wait to chat about everything from grunge bands to classic cartoons. Nate, would you like to send us out, sir?
Goodbye, my 90s kitties. And make sure you come back for more spooky nostalgia and haunting memories of pop culture gone by. Fare thee well and pleasant screams.